what were you doing and what was your mindset when you found out you were having triplets?
Well, I can assure you that my neighbor invited me over that night because my mind was absolutely blown. I had no idea. I mean, we were just trying to manage one child and then to now do three. I mean, it's really like something you see in the news. Like this doesn't happen to me, right? You
Hmm.
hear about something like that happens to someone else, but it was literally happening to us. And yeah, my neighbor invited me over, and he opened a bottle of tequila to to help get through the initial shock of it. And then, I just started to work on a game plan, and I wanted to be the best father I could. But also just that, I think, paternal instinct of, again, providing for financial security for my family. So I had to, I had to think outside of the box. I had to be innovative. And at the time, Rich Dad Poor Dad had literally just come out.
Hmm.
And, I got myself a copy of Cash Flow Quadrant and took the purple pill and actually started to really kind of digest that and figure out that, hey, I need to become a business owner and an investor on the right-hand side of the quadrant as soon as possible. So I didn't know what business I was going to start, but I knew I had to get there, and I knew I had to become a professional investor, so that my income was not capped.
You know, people don't realize this. By the way, we went for our first ultrasound, and I'm barely folding up my cane, taking off my jacket, sitting down beside my wife, and the ultrasound tech was like, "Oh, having twins, huh? What?" but people don't realize is that even when you have kids, they're staggered at least a little bit, and you have the time, and you can buy things, or there's hand me down stuff. But when you have twins or triplets, that's three times everything right now. Clothes, food, all of it. So I can understand your almost panic that I've myself thought and felt to do your best, maximize your earning and investing ability. So tell me, you that's a good way to introduce. You have not just the financial freedom, but you talk about four different types of freedoms. Can you explain that?
Yeah, for sure. And I really love, like, I've spent so many years trying to build wealth and also just trying to understand what does it really mean, right? And I find the essence of it, like it's if I gave you $100 million tomorrow, Aaron, how does that materially impact your life, right? How, what are you going to be doing? Where would you be? Who would you be with? Right. And what I've found is it's really comes down to some of these freedoms that we're looking for in life. And people always talk about financial freedom. So that's, one, right? Having freedom of money. So, you're not limited, right? You have the resources to travel if you want to travel, right? Or, whatever that might be. But there's other freedoms too. It's freedom of purpose, right? Like waking up every day and being fascinated and motivated about the work that you're doing, right? That is real freedom, because then you're never really working a day in your life. It's also having freedom of time in your life. I know so many people who have, big bank accounts and portfolios, but they don't have time. They're working 70-hour weeks, and they're not able to see their kids' events or grow up with their kids or do important things, right? Or take, long vacations. So having that time is really crucial. And also just think about the relationships and people you want to spend time with. right? I'm fortunate enough to spend my day, talking to someone like you, right, who's had an amazing career and done so many amazing things, and you've paid the ultimate sacrifice, and honestly, it's a real honor for me to spend time with you, Aaron, and talk to your audience. I get to do that today. And how exciting is that, right? Whereas there's a lot of people out there that are stuck in jobs and they can't stand some of the people they work with. So they're kind of like handcuffed there. So that's what I talk about when I say freedom, right? And I think freedom is what's all driving us to build wealth, because if we can create, financial resources in our life, we can create some of these other freedoms. But it really all starts with that. And then that gets encapsulated in a vision statement, because if you don't have a target, you're going to miss every time.